The military has charged Bo Bergdahl with desertion and misbehavior before the enemy. Listen to what Judge Andrew Napolitano had to say about this earlier in the program.
I don't think that would bar the use of the death penalty here. I think the courts would give the Congress a little bit more credence and the military a little bit of wiggle room. I just don't think that they're going to seek it. This case, if I may, is very problematic for the president.
Very problematic is right. The Obama administration unapologetic for swapping out 5 terrorists in exchange for Bergdahl. And we're not talking about just any terrorist.
A prisoner of war whose health had deteriorated and we were deeply concerned about, and we saw an opportunity and we seized it. And I make no apologies for that.
Fox News political analyst Juan Williams is with us. And Juan, tell me how the president thinks on this, because it looked like he was trying to be a hero, and it seems like this has absolutely come up and made a mess out of things, and it made him look worse.
Well, I think for people who are his critics, for Republicans who from the start said he should not have made the trade, that he was giving up 5 people who were, you know, horrific terrorists and potentially could go back to the battlefield for Bo Bergdahl without congressional approval, something that the congressional oversight has later said is exactly right. He did it without congressional approval. For the critics, I think they're feasting on this, Tom, but in reality, from the White House perspective, 2 things were accomplished. One is that they brought an American soldier back home no matter the circumstance. But secondly, that they are trying, as you know, to empty Guantanamo Bay. And this is part of their effort to have the United States conclude that war effort, including Guantanamo Bay.
So I get the critics, Juan. I get the fact that the critics are having a heyday with this, but you can overplay that too. But what about his supporters? How do you defend going around Congress releasing 5 senior Taliban terrorists in return for a deserter?
Oh, well, I mean, clearly the deserter part of your statement's up to the military, and that's why there's going to be a trial, and that's why it was up to the military first and foremost to decide whether or not to bring the charges. I think there's going to be an amazingly dramatic trial here because you can imagine Bergdahl's defense. I mean, there's no question that he was held against his will, sometimes in a cage, but we'll see what the military decides, because you can't have American soldiers deserting, pulling away from troop order and discipline, Tom. That's just not acceptable. So we'll see what plays out. But that's for the military to decide, is my point to you this morning, and not for the president.